Well, it's time for a new update. So it seems like a new month arrived, and with it we got a new update on League of Legends. And now it is the 4th time they have done these updates in the style that people really like. Just boys being boys in front of a camera talking about how things are realistically going. So without further ado, let's have a look at how things are going. At the start they give us the date for context, and they were recording this on April 17th, which is about 10 days before they released it. And at the beginning they summarize what this update is about, which means item changes, new mid-season, quality of life updates, and new champions and a new game mode. That one should make you excited. But before we get to the good part, we need to mention the gameplay changes. First of all, they are doing their first ever partial ranked reset in July. They explained why they are doing this in a post that was released about half a year ago. This partial reset will essentially always give people a goal to chase. And at the same time, since the climbing will be more frequent, they can turn it all into a smoother experience. That's one of the reasons why the promos were turned into best of 3. Next, the mid-season update won't be as big as what we had before, which usually meant reworking jungle, but it will still be bigger than normal updates. Overall, they are not really happy with their mythic item system. And based on the feedback, neither is a big portion of their player base. Mostly it's because people don't really like the feeling of locking themselves into one path. So Riot is looking for a better direction for this system. So during the mid-season, be ready to be beta testing the new system. For example, there will be some changes for the AD carry items, bigger changes to lethality because assassins were always in a great spot. But there will also be changes to enchanter items so that they are more fun to use. And after testing all of these, all the info gathered from all these changes will be used to make the overall system better in the future. After this, if they see a lot of promise in the mythic items, they will commit to them. But if it still doesn't work, they are ready to get rid of them, or at the very least, just rework the entire system. With that said, it is unlikely that the actual items will be removed. It is just that the restrictions will be lifted. On top of this, mid-season will also bring in the mid-scope update for Ivern, and kind of connected to that, you will also be able to share your jungle buffs. So Ivern will no longer be the only one who can do that. If you are interested in all of these changes, they released a separate dev blog that explains everything. They talk about how they want to focus on flexibility, coolness, approachability, and balanceability, while also trying to avoid how unsatisfying they can be. For example, this happens when Morgana or Fiddlesticks are simply forced into buying Zhonya's, because that item just defines their abilities. In my opinion, it is very cool that they are still iterating on all of these systems. But at the end of the day, even if they add 1,000 items into the game, it is not something I would consider new content. Because items are often not transformative of the overall game. That's why all of these updates don't really hit home for me. But that's simply because I don't grind ranked anymore. And I still know a lot of people love these changes. So next, they talk about bots, both the good bots and the bad bots. Recently, there was a major bot banning wave, so now people should see less bots in their games, including in ranked. They do this quietly and in waves so that the bot makers have it harder to make new bots. That's why they don't really talk about it when it happens. If they didn't do it this way, for example, if they banned the bots immediately as they found them, people who make these bots will have data on how Riot was able to detect them. If Riot bans 20,000 bots at the same time instead, it will be harder for them to detect how Riot found them. This is pretty much the standard way of how bots are dealt with in the gaming sphere, and many gaming companies are doing the same thing. I'm just surprised that bots even exist in ranked. I have actually never seen a bot in League in my life. Now, the lowest I have ever been was in gold. So I assume bots are just not good enough to get above that? On one side, bots can always use unfair scripts, but that also means that Riot will be able to detect them. So if they don't, I kinda feel sorry for all the people who get outranked by bots. Also, even if the bots are using unfair tactics, doesn't this prove that anyone can climb in ranked? There were always people who said that they are stuck in gold because their teammates are dragging them down. Well, as long as these bots are not teleporting around and just glitching out the entire game, they kinda prove that if you are good enough, you are going to climb. Also, yes, the only reason why bots exist in League is because they can get certain rank and then sell the account on eBay. Anyway, Riot then also talks about the good kind of bots. They got together a whole new team to make better AI. This AI will focus on helping people get better with their skills, which means, I assume, better bots in co-op versus AI. But they also mention that these bots can be used for better content. And obviously, this is where they are referencing game modes. Because in case you don't realize that, anything from Odyssey to the Star Guardian invasion needs AI to control all the enemies. So without a working AI, you simply can't re-enable those game modes. But that's not even the only examples. Remember Doombots? Doombots were considered some of the best content League ever got, right beside Odyssey and, well, Spirit Blossom, I guess. But yes, Doombots are also technically just really good AI. Or actually, not even that good of an AI. Their abilities were just really overpowered. But yes, all of this means there is a chance we might get really good content. After this, they start talking about some quality of life changes. First of all, as you may know, they removed the support for 32-bit operating systems. This means that more memory restrictions were lifted to be used by the game. And you know how they are going to use this free memory? Larger emote wheels. Yes, they are going to expand your emotes from 5 to 9. And they are also considering multiple emote pages. It's kinda crazy that something like this was restricted by old operating systems. Another thing is that Riot found out that 4,500 lines across 100 different champions were broken. That's why in-game you can hear them repeat only one line over and over. Either these got broken along the way, or apparently they were just never properly hooked up. Or there are different lines who always speak over them. So this will be slowly getting fixed, and so far they got about a third of them fixed. And after that, they pass the word to Reeve, who loves to talk about new champions. First of all, they promised a new creature that is not a cute cat or anything humanoid like Belveth. To be fair, it is really cool that they are self-referential and that they actually mention Belveth. But yes, Naafiri will be a darker champion. She is the Darkin dog who will be an assassin who should be very simple to pick up. Or technically, it should be a pack of assassins. And to be fair, that sounds great. If you are gonna saturate the champion pool even more, the new champions should be simpler. Because the game is getting more and more scary for new players. They also talk about a new jungler called Briar. She was simply teased as a Noxian with quite a hunger. Also, there were some references to bloodlust, which immediately makes me think, a Hemomancer? To be fair, they can't do another mage, because that would be a bit too close to Vladimir. So I wouldn't be surprised if it was a Noxian warrior. If they pull off the Grey Legion, I'm gonna be very happy. Also, the teaser image looks a little bit like a spiked collar. Now, Hemomancers are connected to the Black Rose. But in these teasers, they talk about how their bloodlust won't be restricted for long. And that they are going after those who deserve it. So I wonder if, instead of this just being an evil person, what if Swain has them on a leash? After all, having a Hemomancer on his side would certainly help him hunt down the Black Rose. Either way, this one really sounds interesting. Was this the reason why originally there was supposed to be an Aatrox in the cinematic? Anyway, then we get the sad news. Skarner? He's gone. Okay, not entirely, he's just not coming out this year. Yes? I know, it's April. So pretty much no VGUs this year. As far as we know, the team is confident with Skarner's visuals, and they saw that people liked it as well. However, they need more time to nail the gameplay, which, to be fair, the gameplay is by far the most important part. So I kinda understand it, but it's a shame. Thankfully, Riot is still focusing on ASUs, which is just visual upgrades to champions. And since the people working on Skarner had a bit more free time now, Jax is coming back. To be fair, this ASU is very simple, and it's amazing. He still has the purple Icathian cloak, he has all the Targonian and Shuriman trinkets, which are very much in line with the overall lore, and he has the classic Icathian mask that was introduced in Legends of Runeterra. Now Reeve then mentions that in this ASU they turned his lantern into a lamppost from Icathia, which is what I always thought was the case, at least according to the lore. Also, they mentioned that Jax is carrying this with him all the time because it's the last thing he has from his home. But in reality, the real reason why Jax is carrying the lamppost is because it is the last light of Icathia. It is a magical fire that can repel the void. So technically, it is a real weapon. Anyway, before we move on, let's quickly go through the roadmap which was released with this. There we get another teaser for Naafiri, which is the Darkin dog. And yes, some people pointed out that it seems like this might actually be Kassante's journal, which wouldn't be that surprising considering Kassante's connection to Shurima. Also, Riot likes to connect all the champions throughout the year together, so that is definitely possible. Then there is the Insatiable Hunger teaser, which is for the new Noxian jungler. And then there is a teaser for an artist from Ionia. This is what the community refers to as the Ink Mage, which was teased months ago. They say that they wanted to put a piece of art here, but the artist just didn't put anything together. So now I just don't know if it's supposed to be a joke or if they actually didn't have a piece of art ready. But yes, it is just a reminder that the Ionian artist is still coming. Then there is the delay on Skarner. At least there is a new teaser image of the new design. That's kinda it. And then there is a teaser for Vandal Jax as part of the ASU. Still, this one looks really cool. And lastly, at the very bottom, they also mention a new marksman, which will be an adorable creature that is hatching. Now, hatching is probably a reference to an egg, which immediately made me think a tiny dragon? But this universe has a lot of creatures that are born from eggs. This can be anything from a basilisk to a silverwing to anything Vastaya based. So there is not much we can decipher here. So after that, they talk about 2v2v2v2. It is still planned to be released in the big summer event. And they revealed that they are indeed building a new map for it from the ground up. But they showed us 3 teasers. But they still mention one map, so now I don't know what to expect. Still, I love this because this is exactly what League needs. New content and new ways to play the game. The casual audience needs this, so big thumbs up from me. At the end they mention MSI because there will be some new watch rewards. But that's it. And that's it for this entire big update. Honestly, there are some nice things in these, but it is a shame that it is still rolling out a bit slower. Also, rip Skarner. And yeah, I didn't think I would actually get excited about bots. Not because co-op versus AI or because ranked would get ruined, but because Riot may be teasing PvE. We are totally getting a story mode, right?